So this is it here for Jacob Reese Mogg, right? Look, it says every candidate at an election, that's Mogg, right, who shall corruptly by himself or by or with any person, right? So that's not just him alone, but with accomplices, right? So let's, for example, take GB News, the owner of GB News, the production crew of GB News and the staff, right? When Mogg gets a job on GB News and is being paid by them money, a reward, but that is, they're then a unit, a team working together. Mogg is working with accomplices on a television show, right? So he's not by himself, right? By or with any person or by any other ways or means on his behalf, right? So it doesn't have to be just him himself. It's like together, right? They can be doing it together at any time, either before, during, or after an election, right? So that's leading up to it, right? Directly or indirectly. So he doesn't have to be doing it blatantly. It can just be even the effect of it, right? Give or provide, or cause to be given or provided, or shall be an accessory to the giving or providing, or shall pay wholly or in part any expenses incurred for any meal, drink, or entertainment, right? Well, it's true that a person at home pays for their television coming through, right? But we're talking about how does it get onto television, right? Because it's not just there, right? A person pays for TV, but they can go around to other people's houses and they can provide entertainment for them, right? But Mogg's not on TV to start with, right? You've just got other shows. In order to get onto TV, right, that has to be paid for. And the sponsors pay for it, you know, like the food, all of the people who pay for GB News, that money comes from sponsorship money to pay for the show, right? In order to get them on, okay? Now, Mogg is being paid, but someone is offering money. In order to be elected, or for being elected, or for the purposes of corruptly influencing such persons or any other person to give or refrain from giving his vote. So Mogg, why did Mogg even want to be on TV? And why did he want to be on TV before, during, or after an election, right? At such election, or on account of such person having voted or refrained from voting, or being about to vote or refrain from voting at such election, shall be deemed to be guilty of the offence of treating, and shall forfeit the sum of £50 to any person who shall sue for the same, with full costs of suit, and every voter who shall corruptly accept or take any such meat, drink, entertainment, or provision shall be incapable of voting at such election, and his vote, if given, shall be utterly void and of no effect. Now, it says here, right, that if somehow Mogg or GB News are covering the costs for the entertainment, right, but the advertisers are covering the costs, right, the costs are being covered. The costs are being covered for the entertainment because it's sponsored, right? If it's sponsored, then someone's paying for it, right? And it's a sponsorship. It's to do with the private corporate sponsorship of the show, right? Because you might think that this means that Mogg himself has to be giving money to these people, right? But in the earlier acts, right, besides this, the entertainment itself is a gift, right? It's the fact that the entertainment itself is an object like a drink or meat or something like that. And it says any expenses. It says any expenses incurred, right? So, let me try and explain this to you, right? So, people on YouTube channels, right? A person on a YouTube channel, they might be monetized, like Russell Brand was, right? And when that's monetized, Russell Brand is receiving money, okay? And he's getting his expenses covered by YouTube, right? Russell Brand is getting his expenses covered. Now, if it's not monetized, he doesn't make any money, and he's got to cover costs himself, right? Now, you might be saying, well, what are the viewers getting out of it, right? We're not being paid, right? You might say, well, the viewers aren't getting any money. Russell Brand's not giving any money to us, right? But that's not the situation. It's the entertainment itself which is the gift, right? If you're sat in your front room and you're eating a pie and watching TV, right, the pie is a gift, right? But the television, the entertainment itself is the gift. Who's paying for it, right? Who's covering the costs for it? Well, if you're a YouTuber and you go on YouTube, right, you cover the costs yourself, right? If you haven't got any money, you can't really do anything other than, well, if you've got a mobile phone, but the costs of the mobile phone, who paid for the mobile phone, right? Now, the thing is with GB News and all those big channels, right, they cannot afford all their set and their script and their production and stuff like that. You've got to get funding, money, and a lot of their money come in from big sponsors, a little bit like the political parties can't do. They can run in an election and they can be on the ballot, right? You can be on YouTube just by having a mobile phone and uploading videos, just like you can get on the ballot in an election when people go into the voting booth, and you can be on the ballot, but they might not vote for you unless you've done loads of promo. Where does the promo money come from, right? And that's the thing. GB News is being given money. Now, you might say, well, Mogg didn't put up the money for GB News. He's received money, right? But it's the fact that Mogg is providing the entertainment which is being paid for by him and other persons together, right? Because what those persons are doing is those persons with Mogg together are providing the money and the advertisers, and what they're doing is giving some of the money to Mogg, and Mogg's giving you the entertainment, right? Which is all paid for, right? And that's the corrupt part of it. And this goes all the way back at least to the 1688 Bill of Rights and before then in Acts. And this is where Mogg is a criminal, right? In fact, hold on a second. So this is an act of 1854. And actually this act is 1868, 54, 59, 60. This is like about just under 20 years before they allowed the courts to hear election petitions. And this is an act to do with treating, right? So the Electoral Commission, OFCOM took Mogg to court and then Moggs appealed it, but the Electoral Commission are meant to give evidence to the police, right? It wasn't a police prosecution. The Electoral Commission didn't pass information to the police, and I've read that how it's done is the Electoral Commission are supposed to transfer evidence to the police, right? And they're not doing. He's being protected by Michael Grade, Conservative MP, and all those Ofcom people. And it needs to go to the Supreme Court. Mogg actually won, but it needs to go to the Supreme Court. Or I think it actually, he never got criminally prosecuted. That was just like a fine that he appealed, right? The police haven't prosecuted criminally for these offences. So if the Electoral Commission don't prosecute, pass the information to the police, well, maybe I should. Maybe I should pass the information to the police. I'll pass the information to the police.